Happy holidays, you filthy animal. Look, the holiday season is the time of giving, and a lot of people have time off to play Pokemon Go, spend time with friends, and reconnect. But of course, you might know some people who play Pokemon Go. So today I thought I'd go through a holiday gift guide for Pokemon Go players. If you have friends, family members, acquaintances who play Pokemon Go, here's a couple good ideas if you're struggling to find that one perfect gift. We're gonna be going through everything from low price range to a high price range gift. Let's hop right into it with gift number 1. AutoCatchers. The number one item I always recommend a trainer to get if they want to upgrade their Pokemon Go experience is a device that can auto throw Pokeballs and auto spin Pokestops. And this right here is that. This is the Pokemon Go Plus Plus, the newest version. This is the Pokeball Plus, the second newest version, and the original version, the Pokemon Go Plus. These devices are game changers, and for anyone who doesn't have one who plays Pokemon Go, this is the first thing you can buy for yourself or for somebody else to upgrade your Pokemon Go. Now, I do know these things are getting pretty expensive in the States because they don't manufacture them anymore, so all of them are secondhand or bought from people and then resold for profit. So really your best way to find them is to just shop around, see if you can find one for a low price, especially on things like eBay, you might be able to grab some, or even consider a older model like the Pokeball Plus. This is the Pokeball Plus, which obviously can't throw Ultra Balls and Great Balls, but is still an amazing item. And I got this little thing on Etsy that you can click down so it can turn it into a full auto catcher. If you don't want to buy any of these, I'll also link below my full auto catcher buying guide, as there are other branded ones you can go ahead and get, which I will link below if you want to dive more deep into them. But the Pokemon Go Plus Plus is definitely the top of the line best one you can get. Additionally, if you do get a Pokemon Go Plus Plus, or honestly any auto catcher, getting a carrying case for anyone who might already have one is a great gift. These things can get beaten up, bruised, so I will link below a couple different carrying cases you can get. Somebody actually made me this custom Instinct one, which is pretty sick. I can go ahead and slide that in there so that I can go ahead and keep my Pokemon Go Plus Plus super safe. You can even get silicone cases in the shape of different Pokemon if there's a favorite Pokemon you have. Now, obviously, if you can't find these, what are other good gifts you can get for an actual Pokemon Go trainer? Well, the next one is simply gift cards. At Walmart all across the States this year, they actually released PokeCoin gift cards, which you can directly gift PokeCoins to players through a code. You can pick them up at any of your Walmart stores. If you don't have access to those because you live in another country, obviously buying Apple, iTunes, or Android Google Play Store gift cards with money on them could be another good choice, as people can load money onto their accounts and then buy PokeCoins. A really good gift for anybody you know who plays Pokemon Go, because PokeCoins are always useful. Gift a storage upgrade to somebody this season. Now, there are two ways to purchase PokeCoins, through the in-game shop or via the web store. But if you buy them via the web store, you actually get more PokeCoins and bonus PokeCoins. There was actually even a sale on Black Friday. I don't know if it's still happening, but we could see some sales come through December. So something you could do is a make your own PokeCoin gift card and write down a letter, say, hey, next time I see you, I will buy you PokeCoins, but buy them through the web shop. This will give them a little bit of extra PokeCoins and a little bit more bang for your buck when buying them PokeCoins. Definitely the best way to buy somebody PokeCoins, just a little bit more tedious. If you don't want to buy PokeCoins for somebody, another amazing thing to do is to buy them a ticket to an event. We actually have the Kalos Tour happening in late February and March, and it could be an amazing gift to gift somebody this ticket. If you have somebody added as a friend and you're actually great friends with them, and they have the setting online to allow gifts from trainers, you can actually go ahead and send somebody a ticket through buying it in-game. So all you gotta do is message them and say, hey, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, or whatever holiday you celebrate. Here is the ticket to the Kalos Tour, and then just gift it to them in game. You could also just give them like, $10 to buy it for themselves, but who knows, they might go buy chips or something with that. You can even take this even further if you're planning on going to any in-person events, like for example, the LA or Tainan event coming up. Say, hey, I'll buy you your ticket for Saturday, Sunday, or whatever on those in-person events, but obviously that will be a little bit more expensive. Okay, now where I live right now, it is freezing cold in Canada here. But in different places in the world, like for example in Australia, it's summertime. So a phone cooler is one of the best items that Pokemon Go trainers can use to get better gameplay out of whatever phone they use. Now this is the phone cooler I use. It is a Red Magic phone cooler. I don't know the exact name, but again, all these products that I mentioned in this video will be linked below if you want to get the exact model. This thing is a beast and will keep my phone super cool. However, it churns through battery. Using a 20,000 milliamp hour battery With this phone cooler and my phone plugged in, this phone cooler will chew it up in like 3 hours of non-stop gameplay. So maybe consider getting a not as heavy duty phone cooler, but nonetheless, any sort of phone cooler that can attach to the back of somebody's phone, then go ahead and get better performance from their phone is going to be amazing. There's even some phone coolers that will connect via MagSafe to any of your iPhones. This is great as you don't need to go ahead and have the clips on the side. For example, here, how this one just like clips to the back of the phone. Some of them are actually magnetic. All the phone coolers though, most of them at least, unfortunately come with this wire, so you're gonna need an external battery pack. I used to have one phone that the phone cooler actually took battery off of the phone, but I found that was actually not even that good because it actually just drops the performance of the phone because it's actually charging the phone, the battery, because it's actually charging the phone cooler and the phone at the same time. So it's not that great. Definitely get an external battery phone cooler. Overall, if your phone struggles with performance, or if you just want to have a better time playing in the heat, definitely buy yourself a phone cooler for those hot days. And of course, to power up a phone cooler or to power your phone, you need the one most important item for any Pokemon Go trainer: power banks. Now, there's a lot of different power bank options you can choose. Let me break them all down, what the best case scenario for each is, and which ones I recommend. Now, you will notice, first of all the power banks I use are actually, oh my God, I just dropped it. From this brand, Anchor. I am a huge advocator for the brand Anchor. I think it is great. They are very, very well-made power banks. They're sturdy, they give good power, they have really, really high output. But by no means is Anchor the only brand you can buy from. So instead, let me break down the 3 power bank tiers. The first one is the compact power bank. This will usually be a 10,000 milliamp hour power bank, which is much, much smaller, easy to throw in your pocket or a little bit of a purse or a little sling bag or anything like that and carry around, and doesn't have much weight. These power banks will usually last you a couple hours of playing Pokemon Go, but not for a full day session, especially if it's hot or really cold outside. This is just a good power bank to have with you at all times in case you're going on a little bit of an adventure to play Pokemon Go. By no means would I really run this for a full event grind. This Anchor one I like a lot because it actually has a built-in cable, so you never have to really remember to bring your cable, which, to be honest, at first I thought wasn't going to be very useful, but actually is really nice that you can just bring this and don't have to bring an external cable. But it does have a USB-C and it does have a regular USB plug, so it can charge technically 3 devices at once. There's other power bank options though in that range. You have power banks like the Anchor Nano power bank, which can actually just go ahead and MagSafe attach to the back of any iPhone, so you don't even have to carry it around. It just connects to your back of your phone. And then you have other power banks from other brands like Inu, Ugreen, and other brands. All these power banks are gonna really do the same thing. They just have different configurations of what kind of outputs do they have. Do they have 2 USB ports? Do they have a USB-C port? Is there a built-in wire? All that stuff. So that's gonna be just personal preference. The only thing I'll mention is that they do have different outputs usually, with 15 watt, 30 watt, or 45 watt outputs. The higher the watt output, the faster it's actually gonna go ahead and charge your phone. Unless your phone is well known for just losing battery very, very quick and your battery is really old, you should be fine with any wattage output. But of course, the higher the better. That's why I like the Anchor ones, because they usually come with like 30 watt output, but it really depends also on how big the power bank is. The next tier of power bank you're gonna be looking at is going to be the 20,000 milliamp hour range. That's gonna be this one right here. It's actually the same thing as the last one, just a little bit bigger, but it has 20,000 milliamps. Has the same cable as before and the same outputs as before, with 1 USB-C and 1 regular USB output. Inui has one as well, and Ugreen has one as well that you can go ahead and get. But again, I am a strong believer in the brand Anchor. This kind of power bank will last you a full community day or a full grind session, as long as you're not really like using a crazy phone cooler. This is honestly the power bank I would go ahead and recommend for most people to get. The 20,000 milliamp hour range is going to be good enough. It's not too heavy. It's a little bit heavy, but it is going to last you and you'll never really fail you. But if you need something a little bit more hefty, I only really have this because I am a streamer. I do streaming. I play Pokemon Go for long, long periods of time. If you're a top grinder who's going to be out for 8 to 10 hours a day, or you know somebody like that, this is when you want to consider getting one of these. These can go from like 20,000 to 27,000 milliamp hours. They'll be allowed on a plane, which is amazing. However, do remember to not remove this text or have it scratched off, because TSA agents will take these things from you if they cannot read how much milliamp hours is on it. Nonetheless, this power bank is great. There's actually a touch screen where it can go ahead and show you what's plugged in, and there's like settings in it. Really, it's a bit overkill for most people, but this thing can also charge your laptop. So if you know somebody who just really wants to have power on them and just always be able to charge, this is the thing you want to get for them. However, do note it is very, very heavy. You do not want to carry this thing in a purse or a sling bag all day. Maybe in a backpack, it's fine, but definitely adds some hefty weight. Comes with 2 USB-Cs and a regular USB plug. Inui and Ugreen have similar power banks in the similar battery range. But again, I'm going to recommend for most people, 20,000 milliamp hours is fine. 10,000 if you don't even play Pokemon Go that much and you don't go out for long grinds more than 1 to 2 hours. But of course, to use power banks, we need charging cables. So buying somebody a charging cable as a holiday gift is a great idea. But not all charging cables are the same. Yes, you might want to consider buying an upgraded charging cable because of these power banks having different output. For example, if your power bank has an output of 140 watts, but the cable can only take up to 30 watts, we're not going to be getting the most out of that power bank. So the best way to shop for somebody's cable is to go ahead and look for one that usually has a very, very high max wattage output. Anker has a great one, the Anker Nano, having up to 240 wattage output. Ugreen also has one in that range, and other brands. So just look for a high wattage output one, specifically one that matches or is above what your power bank can do. With those two things, you can make a little bit of a bundle to go ahead and gift to a Pokemon Go trainer so they have a bunch of power to last them their grind session. Now, to hold all of these items, you have your AutoCatcher, your power bank, you need a good bag. And I always recommend getting a sling bag. However, recently, I've actually changed my opinions for longer grinds. Now, currently, this is the sling bag I'm using. It is the AER sling bag, and it has a bunch of different compartments in here. It's amazing. It's a little bit expensive, so any sling bag will work if you're on more of a budget, but having a sling bag for somebody to throw over their shoulder to go out and play Pokemon Go is great. However, word of warning, if you're going to be grinding for a long period of time, or if that person is going to have a heavy power bank, even something like the 20,000 milliamp hour one, after a while, a sling bag can really start to hurt your shoulder, so keeping light weight in it is very essential. That's why if you're going to be going out for a long grind or somebody who plays a lot of Pokemon Go, consider buying them a small backpack instead. A small backpack will even out the weight on both shoulders, allowing for much longer grinds without actually hurting a trainer's shoulder. Pokemon Center has some pretty cool Pokemon themed backpacks as well you can go ahead and get, but any small backpack is going to be amazing. The cool thing about backpacks and sling bags as well is they can customize them to whatever they like. I know a lot of trainers who throw pins on their bags, who throw Pokemon plushies hanging from their bags and all that stuff. It really becomes a custom personal bag to them. So buying them a good quality backpack or sling bag is going to be amazing. And the good thing about this stuff is even if you are on a budget, going to a thrift shop, you can find a lot of great backpacks and sling bags that you can go ahead and re-gift to a trainer. Finally, if you do travel a lot or you're scared of security in your area, considering something with anti-theft features like RIFD protection or anti-cut bags, consider looking into those as well. The AER one I have does have those features, which is very, very important, especially if you're going to be carrying valuables with you while you play Pokemon Go. With that, that could be a great little bundle setup to go ahead and gift to a trainer so they have a full kit of things to go ahead and play Pokemon Go with. But what do they use to play Pokemon Go? Well, a new phone. And now we're going to be diving into a bit more expensive gifts. Getting a new phone is definitely a personal thing, and buying it for somebody else can sometimes be a bit weird of a gift because you might not know what they're into or what they want. And I would never recommend you buy a phone specifically for Pokemon Go unless it's your job like me. It's always more important to decide what phone you want based on what you're going to be using it for most and what your needs are. You're gonna be looking at that phone a lot, so you don't wanna buy a phone just made for gaming, unless it's just for gaming. Here's a couple things I would think you should consider though if you're thinking about Pokemon Go. Number one is going to be the processing power. Pokemon Go is going to be a game that runs pretty rough, that takes a lot of processing power to run, and especially can heat up your phone. Now, I don't really know too much about processors and all that stuff, but I do know most modern phones released in the past 5 years should be able to run Pokemon Go just fine. I also know that if you're struggling with processing power, it's actually just a lot better to buy a phone cooler because it usually means your phone is just getting too hot. If you can go ahead and cool down your phone, you'll get much more better performance out of your phone, and buying a phone cooler and an older phone will probably run better than just buying a newer phone and running it without a phone cooler. The second thing to consider, screen brightness. Especially in the summertime when you're out playing, it can be really hard to look at your screen, so getting a screen that can be very bright is very important. Recommend a phone that's around 2000 nits in screen brightness or higher. That will be the best visibility when you're playing Pokemon Go outside in the sun. Finally, battery capacity is huge. Obviously, you can go ahead and have Anker power banks and all that stuff, but having a big battery can be great. just means you're gonna have to recharge your phone less, which will be good. Of course, you can get around with a smaller battery, but that just means you're gonna have to carry around a battery bank with you all the time. Anything over 3000 milliamp hours should generally be good for a phone, and specifically if you do get a newer phone, it will have a newer chip, which tend to be more power efficient. So what phones should you get? Well, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you what phone to get, but I will recommend a couple ones. First of all, in the iPhone ecosystem, of course, I know that a lot of people have the iPads, iMacs, whatever, and they're all for iPhone, so you're just gonna go ahead and naturally buy an iPhone, which is fine. I'm not an iPhone user. But the new iPhone 17 Pro from my editor has told me has the new vapor chamber system, which does help with dissipating the heat across the phone, so it will make the phone performance a little bit better. He recommends the iPhone 17 as it's one of Apple's best mid-tier phones. Again, I recommend any phone released in the past 5 years will generally run pretty well, but I do know this thing about phones, is that if you're gonna buy a phone, don't buy the newest one unless you really have the money to spend. Always recommend buying the second newest phone or the third newest phone, as the price will be a lot more for the value of the phone, as the newest phones are always going to be more expensive. So whatever the newest iPhone is, maybe subtract 2 numbers from it, and that's the phone you can consider buying if you're on a budget. As far as Android goes, I can't really tell you what phone to get, but what I can tell you is what phone I use. This is my main phone that I use for my daily activities, and it can run Pokemon Go pretty well. This is going to be the S24 Plus. This is the phone I use for Pokemon Go. This is the S25 Ultra, the newest Samsung device. I think the 26 is coming out though soon, so I'm not sure. Really, really good phone, runs really, really smooth, but I will say, still really heats up in the summer. So again, you might want to consider going ahead and getting a phone cooler, and that's why I always recommend, instead of buying somebody a new phone, a phone cooler can just be a way to improve performance before having to spend $1,000 on a new phone. Both these phones are amazing. By no means am I going to say they're the best phones well, they are the best phones I've ever played on, but it's not like they don't come with their own problems. They don't get hot at all. They still heat up. They still act like tech. Overall, there are plenty of great videos out there breaking down the best phones of 2025, 2026. So I'd recommend you do your own research, but just remember a phone cooler is something that can help your performance across the board. And if you're on a budget, don't buy the newest phone. It'll just be way more expensive than it should be. But one thing that you can get if you're not willing to spend the money on the phones is a phone case. So here's a couple phone cases to consider buying. Number one, the OtterBox brand. If you're somebody who drops their phone a lot, OtterBox is an amazing brand, which will literally make things impossible to break. I had an OtterBox for a while when I was a kid, and I literally wanted to break the phone because I wanted a new one, but I literally couldn't. Well, I wasn't throwing my phone down, but I did drop it a lot, and it did not break. OtterBoxes are amazing if you're a clumsy person. On the other hand, if you want something a little bit more stylish, the brand Casetify has a lot of great designs. Those very artistic designs and even MagSafe designs. Remember, iPhone has MagSafe, which allows you to connect things to the back, like as I mentioned before, the phone cooler, and then also the battery packs. So you might want to consider getting a phone case if you're on iPhone that has MagSafe. Finally, the Pokemon Center has a lot of phones cases around Pokemon. So if you know somebody's favorite Pokemon or whatever, you could buy them a phone case that is themed towards that. On top of that, something to consider to add to phone cases is going to be things like pop sockets, which will make it a lot easier to hold a phone. This can be a great little stocking stuffer for somebody to go ahead and get. Also, I know a lot of people have phone lanyards, which can go ahead and connect around their neck and connect to their phone. So when they're not playing Pokemon Go or they need to drop their phone very quickly, then go ahead and let go of it. It's going to be safe on the lanyard. They can do whatever they need with their hands and then pick back up the phone to keep playing Pokemon Go. This is a very good item if you're quickly in between playing the game and wanting to drop your phone without having to slide it in your pocket and end up your pocket ends up like accidentally catching a Pokemon. I guess that wouldn't be that bad, but still, sometimes your pocket can purify a Pokemon by accident. Now, as I mentioned, the Pokemon Center is a great place to find a lot of gifts for Pokemon Go trainers. They have a whole Pokemon Go themed section where you can get Pokemon Go themed socks, Pokemon Go themed outfits, Pokemon Go backpacks, Pokemon Go keychains, plushies, all of that stuff. On top of that, the Pokemon Center has a lot of great gifts for just Pokemon trainers. I've bought a lot of plushies like this Sableye and our garlic sauce plushie, got the Volcanion plushie, and another great website is Etsy. Etsy is a place where people will go ahead and make their own custom gifts. This wasn't given on Etsy, but this was actually created by one of my fans, given to me at a meetup, which is an amazing Ditto plush. I did pull out the smile too much. But finding a lot of custom Pokemon gifts specifically for the person you're looking for can be amazing. You can literally find anything on Etsy and you're supporting a local small business. Some of the best gifts I've ever found are on Etsy. Finally, if none of these ideas sparked anything for you, consider just buying somebody some outdoor gifts. Pokemon Go is a game where you go outdoors and you have to go walking, hiking, adventuring, and you're out all day. So buying somebody a new pair of shoes. These are the Hoka Transports, which I used all of my time in Japan. They are shoes that are made for walking and they don't have laces. They cinch up, which is amazing for somebody like me, which were amazing shoes for somebody who wants to walk all day and play Pokemon Go. A water bottle is amazing, especially one that can go ahead and get real small and shrivel up into your bag for when you're done drinking it. Things like an umbrella, a microfiber cleaning cloth for somebody to clean their phone when they're playing Pokemon Go, a stylus pen, a rainproof coat or disposable ponchos for those rainy Pokemon Go days, a hat, gloves, a neck fan, all of these items that will make it much easier when you're out exploring that you wouldn't necessarily just use for Pokemon Go, but they can be used very well. On the topic of gloves, I will mention if you are in the colder areas, getting a good pair of touchscreen gloves for a trainer can be amazing. These are the North Face E-tips that I use and I swear by. However, I will say there's probably a lot of great other touchscreen gloves you can go ahead and get trainers. These are just the ones that I've used and I've always loved using them because they have a really, really good touch sensitivity. Great gloves, but again, you might be able to find something else. I'm just like, that's the only thing I've ever tested. Also, a rechargeable hand warmer is something I've always recommended trainers use. This is something you can go ahead and plug in and this thing gets really hot and you can hold it to keep your hands warm. I know Zippo brand has a really, really good one. I think you can find them at Costco's actually. People were mentioning last year. Finally, you can get some thicker gloves. These are gloves that were actually given to me that have batteries in them and can get and like hand warmed, chargeable, hand warmed battery gloves. I don't know, they're crazy. And they have touchscreen. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a huge fan of them. I think they're a little bit too big and too clunky to play Pokemon Go efficiently on, but the fact that they do heat up via battery is really nice and they do get toasty warm on those really cold days. On the other flip side of things, if you're in India, Australia, or somewhere where it gets really, really hot, that's when you might want to consider getting something like a phone cooler or a neck fan, something to keep a trainer cool on some of those hot days, a hat to keep the thing out of the sun, maybe a couple bottles of sunscreen wouldn't hurt. Overall, the thing about Pokemon Go trainers, it's a game that gets you outside and there is so many different items that a Pokemon Go trainer needs on their daily adventures. So any ideas that you have that I might have missed in this video, please feel free to drop below. And all the products that I mentioned in this video will be linked below. Happy holidays to everybody. I hope you guys have a great Pokemon Go season. Watch these other two videos on screen if you want to learn more about Pokemon Go. We'll catch you all in the next one. Follow for more tips. Peace.